Tyler, do you like scary movies?
I love scary movies.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Well, I really enjoy Monsters, Inc.
Movies. The average person can be inspired by them. They can make us laugh. Movies can keep us on the edge of our seat, and so much more. Maddie's Movie Mix is a podcast for movie enthusiasts of all kinds. We hope you enjoy the show.
Wait. Matt Logan!
Yes, we both have the same problem. You.
Listen. You smell something?
Yippee-ki-yay! This is Tyler Peterson. That movie was all about scaring.
That was all about it. That's very true. But we're not going to talk about that tonight. We're going to scream.
Scream?
We're going to scream all night.
Are we going to talk about the rules?
Let's talk about the rules.
The rules of a horror film? Or rules to surviving a horror film?
Right. What are the rules? You got them?
I only got two.
Okay.
I had the one that said, can never have sex. Had to be a virgin to be able to survive.
To survive? That's right.
So there goes all the married couples. And you can never say, I'll be right back.
Ah, yes.
Those are the two that I caught.
Good
and
rules.
I'm sure there was more.
Yeah, for sure. So this was released 2 years after you were born.
Yes, it was.
So I'm assuming you didn't see it then.
No, well, I think my parents made the good decision to not have me see it in theaters at that time.
But I think if you would have seen it at that time, you might have actually liked scary movies.
Or the other option is I would be emotionally scarred for the rest of my life.
That could be true as well. Yeah. I obviously remember when this came out. I wasn't 2 years old.
No.
And so I loved it. I watch it now again to do the review.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? But it was so different then.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we watched the new one too.
Yeah,
and
right.
I think there's just so much you can see that is. I think horror films set in the past. Actually, I haven't seen a ton, so I can't say this. But the ones two that maybe I've seen is that you can just see. I mean, it's never about being up and coming of with fashion and stuff. So I always think it's funny how trends and stuff change.
Yes.
Because you can definitely see that.
Yes, absolutely. We are going to talk about the new Scream 5, obviously, coming up soon too. But the original here, it was an instant cult classic.
Yeah.
I mean, it did massive numbers. Do you have the numbers?
Yeah.
I have them.
Yeah. It amazes me the difference. So for a $14 million budget, which again, watching the film made a lot of sense. It seemed like very basic. I mean, they didn't do anything over the top, and made $173 million.
Right.
That's bonkers.
It is, but it went gangbusters, man.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
I mean, this was like the cliche, the talk of the town.
Oh, absolutely.
Kevin Williamson and stuff that, I mean, he was huge then.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody wanted to see what he was doing. And then Wes Craven directed it, right?
Yeah, he did.
Because he
did
it was written by Kevin, right? Yep. And yeah.
And he didn't want to direct it, but he did. At least that's what I got. But yeah, it's a cast that they got together. It was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy. So here's what I'll say about Scream. It didn't feel like a horror film. Obviously, the premise is this guy's going around, I guess, spoiler, stabbing people. But again, they have so many tropes throughout the movie that's really it feels almost like a scary movie-ish type, the movie Scary Movie.
Right. The comedy.
That's right. It's a comedy just making fun of itself, which is what I really enjoyed about this.
Yeah. I did too. And it was I mean, these actors back then too were Neve Campbell was up and coming. That was obviously huge to have her on there.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore, it was pretty interesting. Do you have anything on Drew Barrymore and what she decided to do with this film?
I don't know if I have that fact. The only Yeah, I don't think I have that one.
So she wanted to get killed off pretty quickly.
Okay.
Because she thought that she wasn't humble.
Yeah.
She's like an actress of my stature.
Yeah.
You know, and you get killed off in the first scene or the
Right.
first whatever act. You know, that's huge.
Yeah.
That didn't ever happen.
Right.
You know, and so she actually apparently chose that role. Like, I want that one. I'll do this, but I want that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Just kill me off.
Just kill me.
Yeah.
You know, so because I was thinking, you know, again watching it, I'm thinking like, why in the world was Drew Barrymore in the film for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it definitely was a statement.
Oh yeah.
I mean, talk about a great way to start a film. I mean, again, it hasn't been done before because typically a star of that stature wants to be in the whole film.
Yeah.
To stand out, prove its worth. But nope. I'll be in a good 5 minutes and then cut me off and hang me from a tree. It was this.
And it sucks you right in.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
You're thinking like Drew Barrymore, all right, I get to look at her the whole movie, right?
Well, you get to see her intestines.
Yeah.
Pretty
Not
quick.
a family-friendly show.
No. Nope.
But when you have, for the time, right? I mean, they had Courteney Cox, obviously. They had...
Which, you know how she got into this movie?
David Arquette.
Do this movie.
No.
So that's the fact I'll tell you, is that she was obviously, Friends had just started up, I think it was 94.
Yep.
And so she was fit into a cast type of Monica Geller, and this is all that she can do. And so she wanted to be able to show her skills of being more of a serious. I mean, she wasn't really, obviously, again, it's a comedy horror, but she was definitely more serious in this film. Right.
Yes.
So
that I didn't know that. That makes sense though, because totally cast type. But the cast, gosh, there was who else was in here? Some of the young actors were big young actors.
Scooby, or not Scooby-Doo, Shaggy.
Yeah. He was in it.
Henry Welker.
Yeah.
Oh, he was older, but Skeet Ulrich.
But just so many of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting film.
Wasn't Linda Blair in this too or something?
Maybe. There's a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah, they're like cameo stuff almost. Yeah.
So I was trying to write down who all was in it. I was like, oh, well, this person showed up. That person showed up.
Yeah.
That person died.
Yeah. Crazy. It's good film.
Yeah.
I mean, not good, entertaining for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
I thought it was good because it didn't rely on horror too much.
Yeah, it's right. It wasn't like the you walk through a dark hallway and you get scared because you just watched the film.
Yeah.
Right. Now the phone ringing, that would freak you out.
Oh, absolutely.
But what did you think? I was thinking about you when I watched it because it's like the landline, right?
Yeah.
You know, and
I grew up with a landline. My parents just got rid of their home phone.
Okay.
And another interesting fact I got on this was the caller ID after this movie came out.
Sure.
Bumped straight up because people are like, well, I'm not going to answer a phone number I don't know where it's from.
Right.
Which is kind of funny just thinking about that shift. And nowadays, like, I don't know a number.
Right.
I'm not going to answer.
No,
they
exactly.
can leave a voicemail.
In the cell phones, of course, now it's like potential spam or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was so cool because the voice actor that did, you know, the Scream
Roger
person
Jackson.
or whatever, yeah, you know, that was pretty cool how they did that. That was something that hadn't really been done that way before that I remember anyway.
Yeah. And did you see that they never met? Like,
no,
the actors never met. So I said Drew Barrymore and Neve Campbell never met Roger Jackson, who played the voice.
Really? They did all that
before shooting commenced. Whenever they're talking on the phone, they are talking to him. And and none of the cast met him. So they thought it would bring more of a shock, which makes complete sense.
Yeah.
If you don't have a face to attach to the voice,
sure,
it gets so much more creepier, and I'm sure for the actors as well.
Yeah, so they don't have to quite. It's not as much mental preparation for being freaked out by this phone call. That's cool.
So I think even for them, like, I mean, I'm sure they knew the script of who killed, but they could potentially like hand out sections of the script too of like, I mean, really it's a whodunit.
Totally.
At the end of it. So they could have handed out script by script. And so as they're shooting the beginning, I don't know if I don't think it's actually how it's done, but it would be a fun way to shoot a film for sure. Yeah,
totally. It's interesting because with the way things are like leaked, I guess.
Yeah.
How this wasn't leaked back then, because it'd be pretty easy back in 96, 95, whenever they filmed it or whatever, to leak the script. And but I don't remember anything about it until it like came out.
Yeah, me neither.
You think you're going to get me? It's not that late, dude.
I know, it's bright and early.
Yeah, so it was really, really cool to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a lot of years.
It's the first time I've ever seen it.
It was, okay, yeah.
And again, like I don't typically like horror films, but I was talking to my brother earlier today, and we were talking about the scary movie franchise. And I did suggest to him, it'd probably be beneficial to watch Scream. And I said, I enjoyed it. It's not a horror, and it's not, or it is. I didn't, especially the older one. There was no like. I never like.
It's probably more of a
Scare.
thriller. Like, what would I call that? I would say like a. Well, it's a slasher movie, obviously.
Yeah.
But kind of more of a thriller.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of movies to draw from to give examples.
So right.
I was like, yep, you're probably 100% right on this terminology, but the movie references, I'm like. I don't know. I haven't even seen like Freddy Krueger or Friday the 13th or. And I'm sure we'll get into those, and let us know if you want us to review those. But I just know that I haven't seen those.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny to. I would like to actually. We should do a screening together. I would love to see your reaction on some of those.
Yeah, I think we'll have to. The hard part is I feel like new movies. I think. From my stereotypes of what I understand of horror films, it's very hit and miss. Like, I feel like a lot of the older ones, there's instant classics, but I'm sure there's a whole lot of crappy ones in between. But it's a diamond in the rough to find a good horror film.
It is. It really is. And you can't really judge off of how well it does all the time.
Right.
Like the Jason movies and stuff, they did really well. But even back then, I was pretty young. But sorry, Mom and Dad, I got a hold of some of those films with some friends, but older siblings and stuff, they would rent them, and we'd. But they were just like, it's dumb to me, personally. Whatever.
Yeah.
But entertaining, I guess, but not realistic. Like,
right.
Like it's like I saw that coming.
That's right.
All those kinds of things. But which leads me to my next question for you. What was it predictable for you? You're not into any movies like this at all.
Yeah.
So was this predictable? Did you see some of it coming or no? Or
there was definitely parts that seemed very predictable, especially with, again, the older one. There was things that I could definitely see coming just because I think it's advanced so much from 1996.
Yeah.
Of what they're able to do. And I think, again, I've watched the scary movies before. And so I kind of saw parallels again, because that's some of those started as a parody to the original Scream. So I kind of saw her dying.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, I didn't know who was going to be the killer at the end. Like Billy, I had a good assumption that he was going to be the killer, especially after they started about the rules of horror films. I was surprised to see Stewart be an accomplice with it. Didn't see that coming. So I thought that was a good twist. So
I want to start overall entertainment on our list.
Oh my gosh, we're going to the other side.
We're gonna go to the other side. Not overall rating, but the overall entertainment. Because I want to say, like, there are so many things in this that this is a perfect example of a movie for me of why I wanted to do these line items.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why I think it's important to, like, okay, you know, filming locations. Why is that important? Why, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because this overall entertainment for me is a 4.6.
Okay.
Highly entertaining.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll get into the other scores and stuff in a few minutes, but you watch a film like this and it's like, you know, some of the locations were tacky, the acting was tacky, or what's your word?
I don't think it was campy.
Campy is your word, right? No, it wasn't, but this is an example.
Yeah,
Campy is an example of where I want to break it down this, where you can be really entertained by a movie and it's really campy. Or the acting was just not very good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In certain areas anyway. Obviously, if it's the whole film.
Then you're going to be in trouble.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so, but super entertaining. I remember watching it for the first time. It was like, this is great.
Yeah.
When can we watch another one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So very entertained by it. Just a few things though that wouldn't be like a 5, a perfect score.
Right.
Obviously, nothing's going to really be perfect probably, but
yeah.
there was just some moments in there that just didn't seem relevant to the story, I guess, and that wasn't super entertaining. We bored a couple little times, but
well, they definitely played into kind of some of the high school drama that I think if I was a teenager, like, oh yeah, this makes the relevance of that is kind of gone now that
good point.
We're getting older.
Good point.
But that's what I would have to say on that aspect of, like, I think the boring aspects made it feel almost more of a genuine film because, again, it did feel like, again, those were things that I could see happening in real life, but it's not something I want to see at this time.
Yeah, totally. What did you think of the entertainment overall?
I think where I struggle with this one is that I enjoyed the film. Again, I enjoyed kind of the humor, mocking, horror aspect of it. The hard part for me is that I don't have a great understanding of horror films besides the typical tropes that I just assume because when people talk about it. So I think for me to, like, fully appreciate this one, I would be like, it was one of those things where, like, the balance of, like, well, I think I would have to watch some of these older films that they're making because they reference a ton of horror films. The first one I thought that I had put down was when they mentioned Nightmare on Elm Street, which was one that the director was
Wes Craven. Yeah.
Had directed. So I was like, that's really cool that there's that connection. And then they started doing Exorcist, Friday the 13th, Basic Instinct, Halloween, Silence of the Lambs. Like, out of those movies, I haven't seen any of them.
Sure.
Well, I've seen, which one did we? No, The Conjuring.
Conjuring, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have not seen.
Which obviously wasn't out then.
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't seen any of these. And so they're making these references. And so I think the hard balance is that I think I would have enjoyed it more if I had seen those movies because I would have been able to pick on the jokes that they were making. At the same point, I was still able to catch up on a lot of them. It's, again, probably when it comes to the horror genre, one I would want to watch again just because it wasn't, in my mind, a true horror thriller slasher.
Yeah.
So I gave it a 3.9.
Sure.
It was very entertaining. Again, the dynamics were fun to watch. The high school, who's actually the murderer, people then blaming each other like, oh, you have all this motive to kill people, but here's the rules. Here are the things you can't say. And so I thought it was fun. And I really did enjoy that it made fun of itself consistently throughout the film.
So these actors, you had seen them in other things, obviously. What are some of the things that you thought for the actor chemistry?
Yeah.
Watching this, knowing who the actors were. I mean, you obviously Drew Barrymore, all these things. You know 25 years of films.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I thought they interacted very well. Drew Barrymore's character seemed over the top. I mean, she really didn't even interact with any besides Ghostface.
Yeah.
Who else did she interact with?
Right.
So when it comes to chemistry, it was her and
her. Yeah.
She had a nice relationship with the phone.
Yeah.
And watching her boyfriend get murdered. And so that's besides the point. But overall, I thought it felt real in the sense of the relationships. I mean, some of it was over dramatized. I think of like things that you perceive to happen in high school and things that they go out and do. But again, the relationship seemed authentic. Billy and Stu. Stu is sometimes you see people that are just crazy, and you're like, oh, what movie did I watch recently? Oh no, it was a video game. Anyways, but you can very well tell that they're not mentally there or coherent, or like if the right buttons were pushed or right situations were pushed, or if he was with the right people, yep, he's going to go kill people. And again, I was still surprised when he ended up being the murderers because of how he interacted with other people. But
yeah, so
I gave the actor chemistry a 4.0. Although the police officers looked like buffoons, like they normally. Based off the stereotypes, I know that's how I kind of see them in any horror film. Is like
it was a classic horror film type buffoon for sure. Yeah, I get that 100%. It's a little sad. I don't know why it is they do that exactly. I mean, that's clearly a rule.
Yeah.
Not clearly, but for the most part, it's like, okay, whatever. But to me, it culture, bleeds into reality and stuff in some people's minds. So
with the expectations, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a little weird to me, but that every single time, other than like maybe Seven. Have you seen Seven?
No.
I didn't think so.
Is that the one with Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, and that real sexy man.
Well, I'm thinking the movie that's
married to
coming up.
Angelina Jolie.
Oh, Brad.
Was.
Yeah. I was thinking about the movie Dog coming out, so I was thinking Channing Tatum.
Oh yeah, no, not back then.
Or Ryan Gosling. Sorry, there was. Not that I think about hunky men too often.
I did it. I handed you the shovel.
It was like that one time where I think we were doing Eternals of like, what do these actors have in common? And I was trying to process. And you listed a bunch of guys, but Angelina Jolie just happened to be in it. And I said, oh, they all have beards. And
it was for A Star Is Born.
I went into a corner and I got trapped and I fell in the pit.
Yep.
But yes, Brad Pitt is a hunk.
Yeah, so those were two very intelligent police officers, but for the most part, actor chemistry for me, it was a little difficult because I remember looking at it at the time, and having and kind of having some similar thoughts to what I did at the kind of remembering, I suppose, what I felt at the time,
right?
And it was like. There was just some things in there that were pretty predictable to me.
Yeah.
And so some of the acting scenes I didn't think were real smooth, I guess. I thought that way again. So I gave it a 3.5. They're very good actors, but I think that, Neve Campbell, I think she overacted a little bit in my opinion in some of the scenes and
do you think that was the direction of how they wanted the film to go, or was that the actor?
Right.
I think that's the hard part about this film.
Totally. I thought about that quite a bit, and the facial expressions, she's fairly well known for some of those facial expressions that she does. And so I guess to me, it was like she just overdid that kind of stuff. Yeah. And maybe it was directed because that's kind of like who she is. Yeah. But, just some of that I didn't care for. Yeah. And not that might be actor chemistry, but I also view that acting like Drew Barrymore on the phone. That's chemistry to me, right?
Yeah.
How they're interacting with us.
Oh, absolutely.
How they're coming across. So, there was some of that. That's why it's a 3.5 for me. And
Mr. Himby's death was also ridiculous.
Yes.
I'm glad I noted that because I was like, oh, that was so weird.
Yeah.
Again, the balance of this film was it meant to be overly done? Because
right.
I can't fully remember, but I can remember parts where he was just like, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Locations for you on this one. Actually, let me go. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Can I say, living in Minnesota, I've never seen a high school that looks like that. And I'll say, living in Minnesota in a small town.
Yeah.
But even going to Rochester, I still don't see the fountain in the front with the trees and all that paved crap where they can go out and hang out. I've never seen that.
Right.
Again, this is based in California, a place I've never been to.
Right. I thought that back then too, because I wasn't much out of high school at that point.
Right.
And I thought like, what?
Yeah.
No way. But now being more wise,
Cultured,
more cultured, right? I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like that there are schools similar to that in California.
Yeah.
I've seen some in Florida that were, they have outdoor spaces and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I know they exist.
Yeah.
I'm not completely ignorant. I don't have to go there to know, I've seen this too many times in films for it not to be a true depiction of some high school of some sort.
Right.
But again, living in Minnesota in the freezing winters, you'll never see a fountain like that in front of a high school.
No.
Not that again. So going with filmmaking authenticity, I know it was based in California, so it just makes me laugh whenever I see that. It was a pretty simple movie. They didn't go to a ton of places. You have the school, you have maybe 2 or 3 houses. I gave it a 3.9. I thought it was good. The other hard part, and we'll get to this in cinematography, it was kind of dark. Mm-hmm. And again, I understand why they do that. I understand that they want to not have you see everything all the time because they want things to be hidden in corners, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But it doesn't mean I like it.
What's that behind you?
Gosh.
I've been waiting for you to say something like you said hidden in corners. So
oh, okay. Yeah.
I've been waiting. Should we lock the door?
Nothing
or are you all right?
To see here.
I love getting you like that.
It's not hard to do.
I know.
I was a gullible child.
Locations for me is a 4.0, so we're real close.
Yeah.
Because while it might, some of the houses, I don't know the area of California that they were supposedly in, but the school seemed very authentic. The houses were authentic.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of those houses that looked like, that's on a set, right?
Right.
And things like that. So I enjoyed that. So that was a 4.0. But yeah, cinematography, we might as well slide right into that then. I wasn't really excited about how dark it was in some areas too.
Yeah.
I don't know that they needed to make it that dark. But
I don't think any horror film should be that dark. Let me see everything. Let me not be surprised.
Right. Well,
let's not murder people. Let's be good citizens.
Which AKA means don't make them.
That's right.
And I get that. You're not into it. That's
no,
cool.
Sorry, I was just going to the very opposite side.
Yeah, right. It's what I like is when they're gonna show when they're gonna have the dark areas that their subject is lit up.
Yeah.
But behind them is really dark.
Yeah.
And some of that.
It's almost like
stuff.
a theater thing where you have a spotlight on someone.
Yeah.
Where you can very clearly see who's on stage. You don't necessarily see what's going on around.
Yeah. Or it's shadowy or whatever.
Yeah.
But I look at it as that era, 96.
Long time ago.
Right. I wish I could sing like you do, but I just can't.
Well, let me tell you, the music will drive you mad.
Dun, dun. And so some of the scenes, and I'm not sure if this would more be in editing or cinematography, but some of the scenes that they would switch from scene to scene in this were a little bit clunky in how they looked. It was like pretty obvious that they looked just very different, even though they were like in the same house.
Yeah.
But the lighting was different. I caught some of those. But again, the budget...
They didn't have a huge... Yeah, I was going to say, they didn't have a huge budget.
Right. No, I think that they threw this together thinking like this was going to be a fun thing to do. We're going to do it differently.
Right.
Here we go.
And they did.
So 3.7 on cinematography for me.
Look at that. We match.
What?
Yeah, I gave it 3.7. Again, the dark was hard for me. I liked that they... Here's what I say about horror films is they're not afraid to do longer pan shots to develop a scene.
Yes.
And so coming off of... Oh, what movie did we watch that did not do that? Oh, Don't Look Up.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, where they were just chop, 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 chop.
Yes.
Let's not have you pay any attention to what's going on.
Right.
I really did enjoy that they did do the longer shots and not cuts, so you could really develop the scene, what's going on, which I do think works well in horror because you're focused, again, the spotlight, one character, you're focusing in, not necessarily always paying attention to what's going on in the background.
Right.
And that's where you get the jump scares. So I do like that, and I do like that I can focus and like it gets built up. And I also thought whenever Ghostface would get kicked or punched around, again, this isn't cinema. I don't think it's cinematography. I don't know. It's choreography. I think that's what it's called.
Sure.
He would get kicked and he would just flop back or fly around. I was like, all right, you're making a choice here.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I can appreciate it because he's on the ground and he is now not capable of stabbing. I like that.
Right. And I was thinking too, like, did that on, it had to be done on purpose for like a laugh.
Yeah. Well, that's when I first started watching it. When Drew Barrymore scenes came in, I was like, is this intentional? And then as the movie went on and the same things happened, I was like, this has to be intentional. You can't just continue to do this and not think that it's ridiculous.
Right. Totally.
Costume design.
What about music score? Let's change it up on you.
Yeah. Well, we can go to score. I gave it a 4.2.
What?
Okay. Here's what I'll say is I didn't want to listen to it.
How did you give it a 4.2?
What'd you give it?
Not a 4.2.
Like a 3.2?
Maybe. I gave it a 3.1, dude.
Okay.
So predictable. So like average.
Okay. Well,
just saying. That's how I view it.
Here's again maybe where the difference is that it's not a genre I listen to a ton. And so for me, I was not really wanting to listen to it. So it was a hard balance for me because I knew the more I focused in on it, whether it's stereotypical or not, it has a very specific goal in mind with score, is to draw you in.
Yes.
And then boom, jump scare.
Yeah.
So it was a shrill, a lot of building suspense, loud noises during the suspense scenes. So I think if I were to listen to it again, I would probably give it lower. But for the first time viewing, I was like,
I just got to give you crap on it.
We
obviously we're not supposed to like match our scores, but I with you loving music as much as you do, I just figured it would be a little lower.
Well, and here's the thing too: is a lot of times I'll listen to the soundtrack after the movie. Did not do that. With this one.
No, right.
And so I gave it more probably benefit of the doubt than what I should have.
Yeah. It was just so predictable to me, and that's why the 3.1. Like it was just like I don't know. It's just there was nothing spectacular or different. It
doesn't have
about
a theme.
It. No, right, exactly. Now let's do costume design.
costume. Oh, and here's the other thing. Maybe I should give it lore, because whenever I think about the times I've thought about Scream, the Jaws theme gets stuck in my head for whatever reason. So, and obviously that was not in this movie.
Right.
Now costume design.
Let's do it.
All right. So did you know what color or so the original robe choice for Ghostface was, or like what they were thinking about doing?
No, I didn't see that.
So obviously has the black robe and the white ghost face. Well, they were thinking about the robe being completely white.
Really?
Yeah, so he would be more like a ghost figure.
Right.
Which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Their concern was that they didn't want Ghostface to look like a member of the Ku Klux Klan. Which I thought was really
makes
funny.
Sense.
Yeah. And the other...
And it would have.
It absolutely
totally
would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they probably put it together.
Yeah.
And then someone said, bad idea.
Yeah. I could only imagine we could set the house on fire. Nope, we should really not do that.
Right. Wow. Interesting.
The other fun note, or a little cameo or Easter egg, is that at minute 52, when the principal opens the closet, you can see his black Fonzie jacket.
Yes.
Which I thought was completely unnecessary, but it was still cool that it was there. So
yeah.
Going to the overall costume design, because obviously Ghostface did get changed to be black with white face, which I think was a great choice.
Good choice.
We don't need the Ku Klux Klan running out again.
Wow.
Especially with how much inspiration that Ghostface got for Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I say on that. I'll stop that discussion. But definitely shot in the 90s. I thought Ghostface was simple but an effective outfit to set up the iconic franchise. It was nice because they made fun of it too. It's simple that you could go to a random Halloween store and find it. Yeah. Which I thought was a good choice to build the suspense of the whodunit. So I gave it 4.1.
Nice. Costume for me was that kind of saved it.
Yeah.
You know how I am. I want that red dress,
no red dresses,
which we'll talk about in Scream 5.
Oh yeah, we will.
But so it 3.5 for me, because it was other than Ghostface, I really did enjoy that. Like that was something they hadn't done anything like that before. Right. I did really enjoy that. So 3.5 on it, just because everything was like predictable, and I want to see that like come into scene. Like,
and see, here's where I think the issue is sometimes is that this film was all about predictability.
That's a good point, but it's like that's just my
I completely understand that.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong for sure, but it's just like I don't know. There's something about that for me that is like something walks in on screen or whatever, and it's just like totally why? Yeah. Like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. That's cool. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. I did this overall rating.
Did you go emotional on me?
I did. I'm going to do that.
I see a tear starting to well.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it.
How do you feel on the inside right now?
So I feel a 4.4 on the overall.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah. On this. Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling good?
I feel good about this film, all in all. So that's fun. Like,
that's amazing
to set that.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. So just flushed over here.
Right. Your emotional rating score just went.
It's a 5.5. We've had breakthroughs. Well, my emotional score again was based off of it being a horror slasher basis.
Yeah.
Again, comedy. So I gave it 3.7. It's a very good film. Again, one that I would recommend to people to watch if. Again, it's nice. It's not fully in the horror camp, and so you can get enjoyment. And if it starts getting dark, you just skip through a few seconds, and then you go on to the next scene.
Right. Yeah.
And just skip the whole first part where Drew Barrymore gets just.
Yeah. I mean, anybody that wants to see it has probably seen it now. So thankfully, thankfully that's not a spoiler. Actually, that was like, I knew that going into the film. Like, I knew she died
Yeah.
right away. That was not a secret.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. Fun film. I'm gonna watch it again. Like, I enjoyed it. It was
Maybe
definitely,
once we start watching more horror films, I'll watch it again.
yeah, it definitely was just a fun thing to do, a fun thing to watch.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, sir?
Have fun watching it. Just don't be inspired watching it.
Don't be inspired. That is good advice. I'm just looking at my notes. I don't have anything else on it. I guess it's pretty straightforward. I suppose there could be some, a person could kind of go down some of the rabbit holes and things like that with this film and really have some fun with it and stuff too. But I think they did that on 2, 3, and 4, and then let's talk about 5 soon.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bells, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us. We appreciate it.
Okay, so I'll see you later, huh? I'll give you a call.
So it's done.
It's done.